Yo, what is up guys, and welcome back to another F1 Esports video on this channel. This is round number 7 around Spa. I think it's round number 7, I might be wrong, but yeah, round number 7 I think so, around Belgium. And as you can see, we are P2 in the standing, 6 points behind Otis Lawrence and 11 points ahead of our teammate Freddie Rasmussen, and then another 5-point gap to Ismail Fassi and 1-point gap to Nicolas Longe. So it's quite close at the moment. Basically everyone can still win the championship. Q1 here in Spa, and as you can see on the top right, 14 minutes left in the session. That's because rain is coming for Q2 and Q3. So a lot of people getting laps in early on. In the constructors, we're leading by 18 points to Alpine. And then there's quite a big gap to Williams in P3 with 76 points, McLaren in P4 with 63, and Ferrari in P5 with 59 points. So yeah, it looks like our main competitor for the rest of the season is going to be Alpine. We kind of already knew that after the first few races, of course. So yeah, first run here in Q1. And yeah, it's probably going to be the first of 3 runs as we head into the final chicane. Ismail Fassi does a 140.3 right there. So we are going to come across the line and do a 140.491. Not a great lap. As you can see there, by the end of our second lap, we're down in P16. We're going to gain a little bit of time with the ERS out of the final corner and gain a few hundreds, but it's not enough. And as you can see here, we're in P18 for the last run, and this is the one where it counts. Last year we had a terrible qualifying as well. I think we went out in Q2, but there's a lot of lap time to be gained in this final run for sure. Up the hill we go through Eau Rouge and Radion as we open a DRS for a hard braking into Lecombe. Down to 4th gear. Some people use 5th gear. We're going to use 4th. A little bit of gravel on the inside. That doesn't really affect your car too much. It gets off the tire so fast anyway. And then downhill braking. Easy to lock up the right front. A little bit of a moment on the exit there. Through the downhill left. And that's quite a good exit actually. We're 2.2 tons up. Flat out through pull on, of course, and then hard braking for the next chicane. Down to 4th gear again. Short shifting to 5th. Slightly short shifting to 5th, and then braking for Stavlo. Super important exit here. Important to get the rotation. And as you can see, we're 400s up on Tom Manley, who's in P16. That isn't a lot, but there is more time to be found in this final sector for sure. You see Tom Manley is on a 140.407. Or delta on the top right, that's to a 140.46. So looking at that, it should be okay. 2.5 tenths up through the final chicane. As we turn the battery on, unfortunately we run out of deploy and lose around 800s, and it's only P13. And that's frustrating because yeah, we lost so much time out of the final corner. 800s would have seen us jump up to P8, and now we're down in P15 with Thomas Ronnaar still on a lap, and that drops us to P16, and that's really frustrating. That we run out of battery there, out of the final corner, and losing us 800s to a previous lap, where we run out of battery as well. So yeah, perhaps a little bit too aggressive on the ERS management there. And yeah, that's going to see us go out in Q1 and make it very difficult for ourselves again for the race. Once again, it's going to be quite difficult, especially on this game, to cut through the field from P16 on the grid. As long as it doesn't rain, we can probably gain some positions, but as you can see, this was fairly unlucky. Rain again in the first half of the race at least. At least it's going to dry up for the ladder stage, but that kind of just fixes the strategy a little bit. So yeah, this is going to be a very difficult race to make up positions, but we're going to have to try and do it. P16 on the grid, and we're going to be a little bit careful here on the opening lap because there is just not that much to gain for us in the opening corner, as we got two McLarens taking a lot of risk there with each other. We've lost one position to Julian Klaffenbach. There were some front wings flying around already as we're setting up the exit here. Well for Eau Rouge and Radion. We've gone off the track, and that's our first track limit already. Trying to get a run on the cars ahead, but couldn't quite. Probably around full wet conditions at the moment, but yeah, in 1 or 2 laps it will already be back to intermediate conditions, and then the tires will work a lot better. We're trying to get past Alfie Butcher down the inside. Again, we're just not going to take a lot of risk, as there were already front wings flying around, which means there might be some train brakes up ahead, and that will help us a little bit getting overtakes in later on in this race. If there's some cars not having DRS up ahead. So P17, we've lost 1 position on this opening lap. Not like Silverstone where we gained 4 or 5 positions straight away, unfortunately. So yeah, not a great start, but we still have an intact front wing. Usually Spa is quite chaotic on the start. 2021, 2022, both had a lot of cars having incidents in the start, before turn 1 even, and then after turn 1. So we're still in this, but probably we're going to need something strategy-wise in order to do something. Once again, in this rain, as we saw in the last race, it's nearly impossible to overtake. Now this track might be a little bit better for it, to be honest, as 2 cars up ahead are going side by side, and that's just what we want to see. We're going to recharge the battery into turn 1, as these cars ahead are pushing like crazy, and there's an incident ahead, so we're going to have to avoid the car just in time there to keep our front wing intact, and up to P14 we move after starting P17, so that is good news. And Thomas Ronnar up ahead has front wing damage as well, so that might be another free position in a few laps time, depending how bad the front wing damage is, of course. And as you can see, 1 lap later, Alfie Butcher has already gotten past. Thomas has the broken front wing, and yeah, he's not going to fight this too hard. Again, his race is pretty much over. Quite a lot of medium and high speed corners on this track. Yeah, that just means his race is going to be very, very long. So yeah, here we go, past Thomas Ronnar. He's not fighting this too hard. I think we have quite good straight line speed actually here as well. So purple first sector we do. And now we've got another car with wing damage up ahead, Nicolas Longuet. He's going to be defending for his teammate. His teammate started, I think, in P3, if I remember correctly, somewhere in the top 3. And yeah, I think he was just defending for strategy reasons. I don't really remember it too much, but it might not matter too much for us anyway, because if it dries up and there's a lap where it's clearly the best to box, if we have a big enough of a gap to our teammate Freddy, who's like in the top 5, then we can double stack and get the best pit lap. So if we lose 3, 4, 5 seconds here, it won't matter too much. So I'm having to back off there because that would have ended in a shunt. Alfie Butcher managed to get past Nicolas Longuet. We did not. And yeah, in this middle sector, it's going to be quite tough to get past as well, because we saw that in Silverstone, of course, that even if you're 3 seconds per lap faster, even if Nicolas had probably no front wing, he still would be able to stay ahead in the middle sector. He hit a little bit of gravel there, but that doesn't slow you down too much on the exit. You can see we are faster there through pool 1, but yeah, we haven't managed to get past yet. Again, we're gonna put the recharge on, and we just have to be a little bit patient here. Probably wait for one of the straights to go for a move. So yeah, as you can see, Alfie pulling away really fast, already 1.3 seconds ahead of Nicolas Longuet there. And now let's see if we get a good run on this long straight. We're gonna keep the battery on to try maybe go around the outside here. We can't. And now we're gonna try and outbrake him into the next bus stop. He's not leaving enough space there. It's a bit cheeky. Yeah, let's see if we can maybe get them moved on into turn 1 then. We are starting to run a little bit low on battery. We need to keep an eye on that. But we got another braking zone coming up here. We managed to get the car stopped with a little bit of a flick. But now we get them moved on. We're a little bit low on battery, which might harm us down the straight. But yeah, let's see if we can keep the position here into Lecom. 1.5 seconds the gap to Alfie Butcher now. As Nikos Longe is going to go for another move, but yeah, we squeeze him a little bit there and we're going to outbrake him. He turns into us. That was a little bit hopeless, I'm not going to lie. We're obviously not going to give him the space after that. And we get the move done up to P12. And now we got Jan Halliday behind us. We're going to run out of battery, so he's going to get past. But as we've seen so far in this race, it is not impossible to overtake on the long straights. There is actually enough slipstream on this build of the game to make some moves on such a long straight. I think especially due to the fact the DRS has to stay close. You know, the slipstream has a little bit of a bigger effect. And now we get the move done on Jan Halliday. 2.7 seconds the gap to Alfie Butcher. Let's see if we can close up a little bit in the next 2 laps. You can see it has stopped raining, or it's still raining a little bit. We've closed the gap to Alfie Butcher to 1.6 seconds, and we are going to be double stacking here. We're going to be going into the pits with our teammate for a set of the slicks. The gap should be big enough, but we might still lose a little bit of time with the double stack. As you can see, the car has to slow down a little bit, and it takes a little bit longer to get the tires on as well. So we've probably lost around 1 to 1.5 seconds, but it's such a long lap. So if we get it right, we will easily make up for that, and maybe even more. So yeah, out of the pits we go, onto the hards. Hards are the better race tire around here for a 12-lap stint. Not huge grip coming out of the pit exit, but there's still a really long straight away to warm up the tires, and that also gives us an extra 30 seconds for the track to dry up. You know, you can see DRS has been enabled, which is usually a little bit of a sign that the slicks are ready. And as you can see, it is quite clearly faster for the hards at the moment. You can see actually Julian Klavenbok on Inters behind. I think he might have boxed for new Inters, I'm not sure. But we are gaining to him, and that means we're especially going to be gaining to those old intermediates. Yeah, as you can see, the gap was 5.3 seconds into Lecomp. It's now 5.8 seconds. But now we have lost a little bit of time, of course, with the double stack. But we've already gained around 8 tenths to Julian Klavenbok, which means to old Inters, it's probably already 1.5 seconds. And it's only snowballing more and more as the track dries up more and the Inters overheat more. So here we go then. You can see one of the Ferraris has to stay out, as they are boxing their first car now and they can't double stack. So they're going to be losing so much time. I think they were in the top 5, both of them. So that's going to be a huge hit for them. Barry Bormant, as you guys might have seen in Q1, it's back. He managed to get his visa for the last 2 events. So Ferrari might be a threat in this championship in this latter stage. So yeah, out we come, and we've closed another second to Alfie Butcher ahead. And we're going to get DRS here on this long straight. We're going to be using the battery to make this move. Alfie doesn't get DRS, and we're going to get P12 here. And now we straight away, on our warmer hard tires compared to Ruben, have to close that gap so we can get DRS on the next lap as well. But it is going to be tricky, of course, because it's not completely dry. We set a purple first sector. And we've used quite a bit of battery as well. Thomas Gau in P10 on the mediums. He might be trying to close the gap to the leading pack in order to get DRS and hang on, but I do not think mediums are the right tire here. It's the C1 compound for the hards and then the C3 to the medium, so that's an extra step difference, which means they have a lot more grip now, but the tire wear is also going to be a lot more. So 8/10 gap to Ruben Pedreno. We're nearly full on battery, 81%, and that means we're going to get DRS, so that is very lovely. P12, and with Barry Borman coming into the pits now, that might turn into P11. Let's see. We are still trying to get DRS. You can see 8.5 tenths as we cross the DRS detection, which is nice. Tom Manley sets the fast lap the race for now. Maybe we can improve on that. It's a 47.1. We come across the line and we do a 46.4. Obviously we had DRS, we had clear air in the middle sector as well, so that will help as well. But as you can see, Barry Borman coming out of the pits on the mediums. He's going to try and defend, but we got momentum coming out of turn 1. And up to P10 we go, into the points. We are going to get DRS, but we have to defend from Barry Borman straight away. So we're going to pass Ruben Pedreno, because I felt like Barry was going to have so much more grip. Our tires obviously 2 laps older. And as you can see, actually Barry gets the move on Ruben Pedreno. Now we have to recharge the battery, and the perfect scenario would be is if we can hang on to the back of Barry Borman, but the mediums were just a little bit too fast in the first few laps. The Barry's tires only 1 lap old at this point. As you can see, he gets past us here. We have no battery. And yeah, he broke out of DRS quite easily as we got Ruben Pedreno getting past us again into Lecom. Yeah, pushed really hard in order to try and catch the gap, but it wasn't enough. And then actually, on the exact lap he passed us, the cars ahead lost so much time. For whatever reason, maybe the mediums dropped off, I don't know. But that was frustrating because now Ruben gets DRS and it's a lot harder to pass him again. So, yeah, luckily for us, as you can see there, Thomas got on the mediums. Those mediums really dropping off now. And, yeah, we're going to try and pass Thomas Gal here as well. He's really slow up Rouge and Radion, probably out of battery. And now we're going to try and get the moved on perhaps both. Alfie Butcher got a great run on us. He had to lift eventually because it was 3 wide up ahead. And now Ruben Pedreno goes back ahead. I felt like it didn't really matter who was ahead. I just want to keep second or first in that train. So yeah, up to P10 we go. Barry Borman has the fast lap of the race now. We're not going to try and improve on that anymore. I think that's going to be quite pointless. But yeah, that's what I said earlier on. Those mediums really starting to drop off. And it's the same for Barry Borman at the moment. Out of turn 1 we come. We're 5.6 tenths behind Ruben Pedreno, and he's not getting DRS. He's 1.5 tenths away from Barry Borman, and that means we're gonna get DRS here on this long camel straight. We're running out of battery, but so is Ruben Pedreno, and we're gonna get the move on into Lecom. Around the outside we go, and now we need to close the gap to Barry Borman. We set a purple first sector with that huge DRS zone and slipstream as well, of course. Use all of our battery. Now we have to recharge a little bit in this middle sector, of course, to make sure Ruben doesn't get re-past us on the next long straight. But yeah, those mediums really dropping off now, and I think Ismail could have easily driven into the distance, but they knew as well that if they did that, then Barry is gonna drop like a stone in the past or in the last 2-3 laps of this race. So they're doing this on purpose, keeping Barry in the DRS of Ismail. So it's harder for us to overtake. As you can see, exit of Stavolo. You get a huge run on Barry, as I think he was trying to recharge a little bit, struggling with the battery. We're gonna recharge here as well. We kind of have to play this a little bit smart. And yeah, perhaps we could have gone for the fast lap, but I think we would have been blocked here by Barry anyway. and then we would have had no battery on Camel Straight as well, so it wouldn't have been really smart. We do improve on our personal best. So, 2 laps to the end. If we get past Barry before the end of this lap, then there's a good chance we get P7 as well, but that's easier said than done, of course. Barry on the mediums, really starting to drop pace, and again, I think we might have to save some battery here on Camel Straight, because we're just a little bit too far behind. Ruben gaining a lot as I think Alfie is pushing him to try and get past him into Lecom, but yeah, again, not easy if the car ahead has DRS as well. So, battery on 70%, we're probably gonna get around 1 go at this. Perhaps we can do something into the bus stop and then have a go on Ismail as well, but that's a perfect scenario. We also have to be careful that we, you know, go for a move and then compromise ourselves and we get passed by Ruben and Alfie as well. That's just a little bit how the whole battery works in this game. You know, if I go really aggressive, I run out of battery, and then Ruben sitting behind on 100% battery can easily get past us on a long straight. So we have to play it a little bit smart. At the same time, we also cannot play it too conservatively, you know, because that will, yeah, end us only in P9. And that's not what we want. We want P8 or P7, and we're gonna go for the move into the bus stop chicane. We're gonna brake as late as we can. We are next to the driver position, and by the F1 Esports rules, that is enough to be given space. Again, we have to recharge the battery here a little bit, because we don't want to have the same scenario as we had with Nicolas Longe. Now we do have DRS here on Camel Straight, but so does Barry. The reason I backed off in turn 1 as well was obviously battery reasons, but we probably would have lost DRS to Ismail Fassi, because again, they're not stupid as well. Barry is flashing with the battery. We are not, we are now, and we got great momentum into Lecom. We're gonna brake as late as we can. Ismail giving us dirty air on purpose, of course, and now into the next right-hander. A little bit of argy-bargy. I just got so much understeer through there for whatever reason. I never really understood why, but perhaps it's just being off the racing line and there being no grip out there. We managed to keep P9 as we nearly lost that as well. Again, Barry having to recharge the battery a lot. I'm trying to leave a bit of a gap because at this point we have to try and secure P9. And again, we have to just recharge the battery, try and recharge our battery for this final straight. That's what we're trying to do at the moment. And yeah, we just got so much dirty air whenever we're within 2.5 tenths, and then Barry has quite a big gap. Even though his tires are worse, he still gets a better exit. Now we gotta run into Blanchimont perhaps. Unfortunately we don't, because we run out of battery. And now Ruben has a great run on us. A brake into the bus stop. I locked both front wheels again. No grip on the front end. And yeah, we lose the position to Ruben, but we gain it back after the penalty. So we end the race in P9, and yeah, we lose points in the championship again, unfortunately, with Alpine scoring 22 points, Freddy in P3 with 15 points. So in the constructors we only lose 5 points. Again, it's only 2 points, but those 2 points could be crucial coming the end, especially after starting P16 and dropping to P17. It is a good race. I think at maximum we could have gotten P7 there. So yeah, it was a good race in the end, but yeah, just really unfortunate about qualifying again. So we need to try and turn that around. We were 6 points behind, us scoring 2 points now, and Otis 12. We will now be 16 points behind again. It's very much not the end of the world, because it is very, you know, it can turn around really quickly. Maybe we win the next race and Otis doesn't score, then we're suddenly 9 points ahead, of course, but that's easier said than done. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time. Ciao.